All right. Let's start a podcast.
I say if you don't like this music, you don't be listening to it. You know, I'm just a dude that you know, or something similar. If you don't keep it real, then you go somewhere but here, cause you know we're only losing control just for a minute.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Texas Wedding Podcast. It's weird to say that. It's been in my brain for so long now, but I'm glad you're here. If you're listening to this, you are right at the beginning of it, right at the beginning of everything. At this point, I have very little idea how to do a podcast. So I hope you're ready for the journey. Hope you're ready for learning as we go, because that's certainly the plan right now. I want to start this off. So many questions. Yes, I announced this on my Instagram. I didn't even announce the name or anything. So I'm sure the big question is like, what even is this? What is this podcast? What are we going to talk about? And maybe you could get part of that with the Texas Wedding Podcast. But I opened up to questions, and a lot of y'all did write in questions, and we're going to go through those. But to start off, it's just me. I'm here in my office. This format's not going to be the norm. I will very rarely be here by myself talking. I don't have that much to say. I'm not that interesting. We have all these questions. Let's just jump into it. First question, what's the name of it? If you're here, you hopefully know the name of it at this point. It is the Texas Wedding Podcast, which is, I've been told it's a bit on the nose. It's maybe not my most creative moment, but it's the name of it. Here's another one. This is my fault. I should have said more information. When is the first episode dropping? Thanks for asking. The first episode is dropping, I guess, as you listen to this. So hope it lives up to the hype. The goal is eventually to hit a rhythm and have the podcast once a week. And I think anyone who has started a new hobby or learned a new thing can relate to it. The things that I'm doing now with this podcast that take me 2 hours, someone really experienced could probably do in 5 to 10 minutes. The goal is definitely, even from the beginning, to do once a week. I might need a little bit of grace because I'm very slow and I'm not good at this yet. Eventually we'll get it dialed in. We'll have all the systems down. It'll be once a week. Hopefully that's always the case. If not, a little bit of grace and we will get there. So what's it going to be like? And what are you most excited to cover in it? That's the big question, right? I mean, you could start a podcast to talk about anything. My goal for the Texas Wedding Podcast is that this would be candid conversations with the people who are moving and shaping the Texas wedding market. The podcast will follow what I'm most interested in. And the main thing that means is it's going to be a highly relational podcast. This isn't a type A coaching style podcast. This isn't leaving this podcast with 5 actionable steps to increase your revenue. Instead, this podcast, what I'm trying to do is create a space that's relational, that's honest, that's grounded in people, that's grounded in their experience. And ultimately, my goal here is to make the kind of podcast that I would want to listen to. Who is it for? Is it a wedding podcast? Yes, it is a wedding podcast. Ultimately, I think there's 2 people who will find this really interesting. The first is wedding vendors. I think most of the people listening to this first episode and at the beginning are going to be wedding vendors and people I work with and people I'm connected with and people connected to our first couple guests. My business really transformed when I stepped outside the videography bubble, when I started to get to know other people in the industry, when I started building more connections, when I started going to networking events, and not just going there and being seen and let's give out a business card and trade Instagrams. My business really started to transform when I learned about the other people working in the market, when I could internalize what other vendors are seeing on the wedding day, when I had a better idea of what life is like for the photographers I work alongside, where their brain's at on the wedding day, what their struggles are, what their stressors are, what's annoying for them about videographers. And the same is true with every industry. When I could better understand why stationers design things the way they did and the story and how they like it captured and the struggles they're having and what turns up. And the same with rentals and the same with planners and the same with the designers. And when I did that, when I started to understand the vendors I'm working alongside, what drives them, what they're passionate about, what their struggles are, what their focus is, the my business, 718 Creative, grew exponentially, and my enjoyment in what I was doing, like from building those relationships and knowing I'm helping and blessing the people I'm working alongside, grew exponentially as well. And it's not like I've mastered it. I mean, part of why I'm doing this podcast is to hear more of those stories, to better understand, to learn more. And I hope everyone listening to this is going to have the same experience, that whether it's someone in your own vendor category type, whether I'm interviewing another videographer and learning from them, if you're a photographer, listen to me interview another photographer, or if it's a totally different vendor type, if you're a stationer and you're listening to me talk to a florist. Hopefully, if we can all understand where each other are coming from better, and we can all understand each other's businesses and how we got there and how we're growing and what our dreams are for the future and what the stressors are and what the stressors are for one wedding day and what the stressors are for choosing this as a career. Like, as we can understand these things about each other, I think we'll not only grow to love our businesses more and do a better job for our clients, but we'll also be able to support each other. The whole market, I think, would be stronger if we can do that. So I'll be doing that as I host this and I learn from each of y'all in these interviews every week. I hope that you, the listeners, are going to experience the same thing. That just soaking in these interviews, soaking in these podcast episodes, soaking in these stories and the experiences that are being shared, you'll slowly and subtly find yourself and your business being transformed by them. I think the other people who are going to find this really interesting are future clients, people getting married a long ways off, people getting married a short ways off. In my experience, clients are increasingly interested in not just supporting businesses with work that they like. Of course, that's important. But they also want to support the people behind the business. And so they want to know a little bit about who you are, what makes you tick, and they want to make sure they like you. Honestly, in some cases, they just want to make sure they don't hate you. And I think some people in the wedding industry are doing that really well. Some people are putting themselves and their personality out there really well for people to know ahead of time. Most of us aren't. Like, most of us with businesses, other than a bio on our about page and occasionally like a perfect portrait of ourselves that we put on Instagram every now and then, aren't really putting ourselves out there for clients to get to know at all. And so I think this can bridge that gap a little bit. I think we'll have clients who just want to learn more about the wedding market as they're planning their wedding and stepping into it. I also think we'll have future clients that just want to log in and hear from and hear about the people that they're considering hiring. So ultimately, this is just getting started. I have no idea who's going to want to listen to this. That's my guess, that it'll be a little bit of both of those. And as this podcast gets up and going, yes, we're starting out with interviews with the vendors, the people moving and shaping the wedding industry here in Texas. But I do also have the plan at some point expanding and bringing on some of our previous clients that I've worked with onto the podcast to talk about their point of view, from everything from engagement to hiring a planner to doing research on vendors to what made purchasing decisions and stuff like that. I think those episodes especially will be really interesting to other clients and will be really enlightening for us in the wedding industry. Will the podcast be exclusive for Texas vendors? No. It's obviously Texas focused. Why else would I name it the Texas Wedding Podcast? But the wedding market in Texas is not isolated just within the boundaries of Texas. There's so many outside influences that impact how we do things here and what our clients are seeing, what they're wanting for their wedding. So I'll say the baseline again. This podcast is for anyone moving and shaping the Texas wedding industry. And that might include people that live in Texas, but only work exclusively out of Texas. That might include people outside of Texas. But what they're doing is having an impact here on the Texas wedding market. This podcast will not be exclusive to Texas. It'll always be Texas focused, though. What has surprised you most starting the podcast? Honestly, the biggest surprise initially is how much time it takes. It's not the first creative venture I've had. And somehow I always massively underestimate the learning curve of picking up just something totally different. And part of that's on me. I have way too high of standards, even when I have absolutely no idea how to do the thing I'm trying to do. I'd say what surprised me the second most is it's been really fun stepping into something totally new, stepping into a brand new medium where I don't know what I'm doing. and I can be the beginner, and that's okay. With 718 Creative, at this point, with the scale of the weddings we're doing and the expectation that comes along with those weddings, it's not okay to be a beginner at it. There's such a high expectation that I have on myself, that other people have on me, for like the perfection that each wedding day is going to be and each film's going to come out to be. And I love that. Like, I love the stress of that. But it's been creatively really freeing to go the total other way with this podcast, where I'm a beginner and I don't have it all figured out right now. It's just been good to know I'm not very good at this yet, and that's okay. And that's been really freeing for me to get to do. Funny story. If you're watching this video right now, you see the background. This is my office. We got a house just under a year ago and are in the midst of renovating it and painting it. And we hadn't started painting or doing anything to the office yet. And I recorded my first podcast and I showed it to Alex, who's a good friend in the industry and one of my regular second shooters. Y'all might know Alex. And his first reaction was that it looked like I was recording from a prison cell. So that was honest. If you're seeing this, like, this background has looked different in every single episode so far. And I guarantee you we'll do this and then think, I don't like how this or that looked. This will keep tweaking. All of this, the camera, everything, it'll keep tweaking. I hope you're okay with being along for the ride. Why a podcast? And why are you excited about it? I think two things really get me excited about a podcast. The first is the connection. So much content online has been so massively abbreviated to the point where it makes it so connection's not even possible. Like short form, everything. The like false dopamine of everything online has been so massively optimized that it's taken away all the like actual connection and like all the actual heart and benefit of so many of those things. And it's made it, like, just think of social media, it's made it that the addiction to it's at an all-time high and any actual connections coming from it are at an all-time low. I like that podcasts are different. I like that there's not 15-second trending audio and then that's the end of it. I like that it's longer. I like that it's edited and it's fun to listen to, but it's not edited down to like perfection. It's not edited down to cinema. Like, there's real connections, there's real conversations happening in it. It just feels more like lived in. You can soak it up, you can get comfortable. I like that as the audience, hopefully by the end of an episode, after listening to someone talk for 30 to 60 minutes, I hope you feel more connected to them. And even like, I can harp and complain about social media all I want, but even outside of social media, I feel like there's an ever-growing need in our industry too for genuine connection. I am like 10 out of 10 extrovert. On all the tests, I'm the highest extrovert there is. I'm so energized by it. I'll leave a wedding and be up for 2.5 hours because I've been around so many people. I love the networking events, like for the industry, any kind of parties or networking events, there's lots of people. I'm on cloud 9 every single time. And yet I also always leave those events feeling a need for more connection than what I got there. Whereas there's 2 to 5 minute conversations and catch ups and little things. I can't go to a networking event with 250 people in the industry and be able to make actual genuine connections with people. Like, I don't get to sit down and have a meal with 250 people for 40 minutes at these events. And so there's always one or two small ones, but I don't know. It's so appealing to be able to have like a more genuine connection and conversation for 30 minutes with someone. I feel the need for that. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm this weird extrovert that feels that, but I feel the need for more connection than what social media offers, than what networking events offers. And I think this is a really cool opportunity for that. The second thing I'm excited for about this podcast is that it gives me a megaphone to talk about the incredible things happening in the Texas wedding market. I mean, I feel like more people should know, like, the quality of the people who are serving at every wedding, who are working their tails off to make these days happen. And this actually gives me an avenue to talk about that, whether it's interviewing them directly or talking about them behind their back, which I am very much looking forward to doing on this podcast. But being able to say it to everybody, everyone can listen in now and know the incredible opportunities that are here in the Texas wedding market, the incredible people, the incredible artistry that's happening. I think for the general public and the national wedding market, I think the Texas market is massively underrated. And so I like that this is an opportunity for me to share that. I'm being rambling, but let's keep going. Who are your dream podcast guests? I don't have a list of oh man, I'd love to one day be able to have A, B, and C on the podcast. I have narrowed it down of who I do want to have on the podcast. I've said it 6 times now, but the podcast guests will be people who are moving and shaping the Texas wedding market. The second thing I want in each of the guests is someone that I look up to. And that could be such a broad thing. I could look up to someone because of the incredible business they've built and the reputation and the scale of the events. But I look up to people just as much for how incredibly kind they are, or people I've worked alongside, and I see these small, highly intentional things they're doing to really serve the clients above all expectations. But everyone on here will be someone that I look up to in some way, which makes it kind of fun. Last question. And then you'll need to go listen to actual podcasts and not me just answering questions. Have you ever done a podcast before? No, literally no. I've been a guest on one time, maybe 3 years ago, but this isn't a secret skill I have. I don't have experience as a radio host in college. I haven't done a podcast. I can't emphasize to you guys how much I am figuring this out as we go along. And maybe that's obvious. Maybe you're watching it no duh, Kevin. Maybe you're watching it wow, that's surprising. But I'm excited to learn, and I think we could really build something cool here with the Texas wedding market. So I hope you agree. I hope you see potential. At this point, as I'm recording this, we've recorded 3 episodes of the podcast. I've edited some, not all of them, but for each of those, there have been several lessons of, I shouldn't ask this question that way. Oh, I should fix my background this way. Oh, I should position the mic this way instead. And so it's crazy with each episode, the number of things I've learned and picked up. And so it just makes me excited for where this podcast be headed. So I hope you're excited too. I mean, if you are, this is the cringy part at the end of a podcast, but I hope you feel the sincerity of it. If you are excited about where this is going, then jump along for the ride. It would honestly help me out if you would go follow us on social media, if you would subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast, and if you have the extra, it takes 7 or 8 seconds to leave a review. I don't know anything about the analytics on a podcast. I've been told that's really helpful. It would mean a lot to me. And even more than anything else, I want to say thank you for being here and taking the time. Thank you for listening to this. Frankly, I'm excited about where this podcast could go. Frankly, I'm pretty terrified of the amount of work it's going to take and the number of things I don't know yet that I need to figure out. That's the episode. I hope I answered everyone's questions. I hope you know a little bit better what we're going for, what this podcast is going to be about, and I hope you're excited about it. I'm excited about it, and I will see you on the next episode.
I say if you don't like this music, you don't be listening to it. You know I'm just a dude that you know, or something similar. If you don't keep it real, then you go somewhere but here, cause you know we're only losing control just for a minute. Oh